Commissioner Khadak Singh is addressing an assembly of police officers, among whom is his junior accomplice, Inspector Jagtap, over an occasion to celebrate the recovery of antique artifacts. Singh has his suspicions set on the Johri brothers, two Siamese twins who have been in the eyes of Interpol. However, as he explains, while Singh has the responsibility of transporting these artifacts to Delhi without any interruptions, he is clear that the Johri brothers will desperately find a way out. But each of the possible talented con artists and thieves they might choose has been ruled out through Singh's efforts. And at that moment, he receives and spreads the word that the third and final con artist, wanted criminal Tabrez Mirza Khan, a.k.a. Tees Maar Khan, a.k.a. TMK, has been arrested at an airport in Paris and is being brought to India. The original, Tees Maar Khan, meaning 30 Tigers Prince, was Mir Mehboob Ali Khan, 1866-1911, the sixth Nizam of Hyderabad, who killed 33 tigers. Udharan, while in the process of being deported back to India to be produced before the police and ultimately be sent to prison. Tabrez, completely handcuffed, is picked up by CBI officers Chatterjee and Mukherjee, who warns him that he won't be able to escape from prison a 26th time around. But he laughs it off, claiming that he will go home and not to prison. Aboard the flight is Aviation Minister Pankaj Shukla's daughter Malavika, who gets into an argument with one of the flight attendants over the issue of her pet Penny. The chief pilot tries to intervene but fails to settle the friction between the two. Tabrez uses this to his advantage by first jacking the cockpit on the pretext of using the washroom, and later pushing an asleep Chatterjee's leg out of the seat, which results in the attendant unwittingly losing control and spilling a drink over Penny, causing Malavika to burst into anger, while the pilots come out to resolve the dispute, and discover, to the horror of both themselves and unwittingly the passengers as well, that the flight has been left in autopilot mode. And since the door is jammed, the flight could possibly crash land. The ensuing commotion results in a middle-aged woman aboard the flight seeking out Chatterjee and Mukherjee for help. But in the officer's audacity to refuse, Chatterjee ends up unwittingly exclaiming loudly that Tabrez can open the lock. However, when Tabrez initially rebuffs the requests of the passengers, they, in all ire, free Tabrez from the two officers. And he, in turn, manages to open the cockpit for the pilots, thereby becoming a hero in the eyes of the passengers and is able to trick the police by posing, all dressed up, as a rich man. Udharan Chennai. Shortly after he relays this entire episode to his sidekicks Burger, Dollar and Soda, who have come to pick him up at the airport, Tabrez drives away and expresses his desire to go home and meet his mother and his wife, Anya Khan. But Burger reveals that Anya isn't at home and has been shooting for a film titled Sheila Ki Jawani. Tabrez, visibly irked, decides to hijack the film's shooting, and in the process, smashes the director on his head and drags her home. Anya protests, merely exposing Tabrez in front of his mother, who is under the impression that he is a renowned film director himself. Chatterjee and Mukherjee appear at his house, but are thrown out by his mother and Anya. Udharan. Tabrez next makes a deal with the Johri brothers to hijack the train with the help of a few unwitting villagers, who he is supposed to trick into doing so and smuggling the goods into a truck for the brothers, by posing as an international film director. During one of the two meetings in which this is finalized, well-known superstar Atish Kapoor arrives as a guest of honor at the local Dandiya event where Tabrez and the Johri brothers are randomly chosen for the prize. But they are spotted by Chatterjee and Mukherjee and instead decide to flee by creating a commotion, causing Atish to storm out in anger. Tabrez finds that Atish enjoys police protection and relays this information to the Johri brothers, who decide that they will be the producers. Udharan. Tabrez, Dollar, Burger and Soda manage to steal equipment from a film set where actor Chunky Pandey is shooting, and land up in a village called Dhulia, where the chief, Nana Ghanpule and his blind associate, Subedar welcome him. Realizing that the train passes through the only track in Dhulia, Tabrez settles on the idea of directing his film there. And, posing as an international director Manoj De Ramalin, the fair-complexioned brother of award-winning director Manoj Knight Ramalin, approaches Atish, who agrees to the Oscar-winning project, despite the suspicions of his manager Bunty Baweja. Udharan. Tabrez comes up with the idea of a film centered in the pre-independence era, where Atish would play a revolutionary, and Anya would play Razia Sultana, probably thinking of her as born to be Shah Zafar. In truth, she was Sultan Iltutmish's daughter, and both of them would protest against Britishers. Midway through, the negatives run out, and one of Nana's associates, Shashi Kiran, overhears this, deciding to raise a few 5-6 lakhs of rupees for Tabrez and the team. At night, since they have the keys to the local bank, Tabrez, Burger, Dollar, and Soda decide to rob the bank. But even as the villagers, mistakenly, assume them to be robbers, their escape and attempts to dodge a ghost figure leads both the gang of thieves and the villagers to a hideout deep in the forest where several children who went missing from the village are recovered from a gang of militants. After which the entirety of villagers bows in front of Tabrez, who realizes that he made a grave mistake trying to deceive the villagers. Humbled by their gesture of 5-6 lakh rupee as a means of arranging film equipment, he decides that he will leave behind part of the looted treasure for the villagers. Even as he trains the villagers in acting, among whom is the local cop, Inspector Dhurandhar, as the train has been delayed by a week. Udharan. With everything set in motion on the day of the hijack, trouble seems to brew with the arrival of Singh, Jagtap, Chatterjee and Mukherjee, even as Tabrez finds his mother joining in after finding out through the unwitting Anya. However, while he succeeds in tying up the 4 officers and escaping after successfully executing the entire caper, Singh recovers and slaps Dhurandhar, informing the stunned villagers that the director who they met is a wanted criminal. Udharan. Along with his gang, Tabrez meets up with the Johri brothers and declares that he will leave behind a portion of the loot for the villagers. But the rather irked twins fool them and escape. Meanwhile, Dhurandhar holds Tabrez at gunpoint until Singh arrives, and the entire village altar assembles with Tabrez against the officers in attendance, with the judge deciding that only the guilt-ridden Tabrez be jailed. But while he misinterprets his sentence as that of 7 years, he is shocked to find that it is instead 60 years. Udharan. Outside the courtroom, Tabrez instructs Burger, Dollar and Soda to complete the film, titled Bharat Ka Khazana, Translal, Treasure of India, Hindi, Treasure of India, Urdu, and release it. At the premiere, he arrives handcuffed, but is found missing and thus escaped after Chatterjee and Mukherjee find Bunty in shackles instead. Singh realizes he has failed and is shocked. Udharan. Meanwhile, the Johri brothers are stunned to find Tabrez aboard their plane, with Burger, Dollar and Soda revealed to have hijacked it. Finding the twins adamant against his will, Tabrez throws them out with a parachute at their back. A song sequence, in the end, features Atish finally receiving an Oscar award from the sensational actor Anil Kapoor. Anya endorsing a hair removal cream. Uddharan.